Imagine moving somewhere so remote you have to get surgery before you even arrive. That's life in Villas Las Australis, one of only 2 civilian towns in Antarctica. Anyone planning to live there has to have their appendix removed, even if it's perfectly healthy. The nearest hospital is over 600 miles away. A burst appendix out there could quite literally be fatal. So here they are. Here are 20 random facts coming your way. And if you think that's extreme, here's one that'll make you think twice about your next supercar purchase. The Bugatti Veyron isn't just a fancy car, it's one of the better ways to watch your money vanish before your eyes. The tyres alone cost more than some people's cars. Push it to the top speed and they'll disintegrate in just 15 minutes. At $42,000 a set, that's an expensive joyride. Owning one is basically setting your money on fire, but hey, at least you look cool. And while Bugatti owners burn cash, gamers are burning calories. In 2016, Pokémon Go had people literally chasing Pikachu through the streets. A study found US activity shot up by 144 billion steps in just a month. Globally, players walked enough to reach the moon and back 11 times. It'll always be remembered as the time a video game accidentally started a global fitness movement. And while some lost weight, others were gaining it, thanks to a secret recipe. I'm talking about one of the most guarded mysteries in fast food. Colonel Sanders' 11 secret herbs and spices. KFC takes it so seriously, the recipe is split in half. One company mixes part of it, another handles the rest, and only then are they combined. The handwritten recipe itself is locked inside a 770-pound vault in Kentucky with timed locks, motion sensors, and 24/7 surveillance. Seems like overkill for fried chicken, but secrets have a way of slipping out. Just ask the unlucky couple whose phone number ended up in an AC/DC song. In 1976, AC/DC dropped their song Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap with a phone number they thought was fake. They included the lyric, "Call me anytime, just ring 36 24 36 hey." Problem was, fans misheard the hey as 8. That number belonged to Norman and Marilyn White, a couple living in Libertyville, Illinois. They were bombarded with prank calls, some obscene and others just quoting random AC/DC lyrics, to the point where they ended up suing Atlantic Records for $250,000. But unfortunately for the Whites, they lost. And speaking of losing it, let's talk about the phenomenon that is flying rage. A 2016 study of more than 1 million flights found planes with first-class cabins have nearly 4 times more air rage incidents. And if economy passengers boarded through first class, incidents doubled again. Psychologists call it the inequality effect. When you're slinking past plush leather seats and champagne flutes on your way to that cramped middle row, all the while preparing yourself for an 8-hour battle with some screaming baby in the next aisle, you're reminded you're on the wrong side of the curtain. It's all about status on display. It increases frustration, which naturally spills over to anger and aggression. I guess just try to sleep it off. Unless, of course, your genes literally won't let you. In 2014, scientists discovered a rare mutation called short sleeper syndrome. People with it thrive on less than 6 hours of sleep a night and never hit that wall of exhaustion the rest of us know all too well. Entire generations of families have this very same gene. Imagine gaining 20 extra waking hours a week just from your DNA. It's impressive, but so is the guy who could absorb information at a rate that made geniuses look like Ron Burgundy trying to explain quantum mechanics. Kim Peek wasn't just gifted. He could power through a book in less than an hour and recall nearly every detail. He'd scan the left page with one eye and the right with the other. He'd memorized more than 12,000 books, word for word, everything from Shakespeare to phone books. And it extended beyond simply reading. If you gave him any date, he could even instantly tell you the exact day of the week it fell on. His mind was so unique, it inspired the film Rain Man. It's true, not everyone can be a Rain Man, but there are some fancy tricks to help us hack our brains. Try talking to yourself. Studies show self-talk helps organize thoughts, boost memory, and sharpens those problem-solving skills. When you speak out loud, you're essentially offloading mental clutter. Hearing the words engages parts of the brain that makes those thoughts stick better. Athletes do it to stay focused. Scientists do it to think clearly. It's like your very own internal hard drive, helping you store thoughts you would have otherwise forgotten. So next time you mutter to yourself, remember, you're not crazy. It's just science. And now from debugging your brain to debugging in the more traditional sense. Developers have a quirky trick called rubber duck debugging. The idea is simple. Place a rubber duck or any inanimate object on your desk and explain your code to it line by line. Out loud, every detail has to make sense, and in the process, your brain starts catching mistakes that you'd previously missed. It seems ridiculous, but it's surprisingly effective. Over the years, some of the world's most advanced software has been debugged thanks to an impromptu chat with a rubber duck. And there may even come a time when you crack that code that you want to squeeze that rubber duck. You're so happy. Well, that's not unusual. In fact, that oddly specific urge actually has a name. It's called cute aggression. Do you ever get that weird urge to squeeze a puppy or see someone else squeezing a baby's cheeks? Neuroscientists say it's the brain's way of stopping you from short-circuiting on pure joy. In lab studies, people shown pictures of baby animals unconsciously clenched their fists and bared their teeth, the same expressions we make when we're angry. It helps us regulate overwhelmingly positive emotions so our brains don't get overloaded from all that cuteness. Speaking of brains being overloaded, Marie Curie wasn't just the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. She's the only person ever to win in two distinct sciences, physics and chemistry. But in 19th century Poland, they didn't make it easy. Women were banned from higher education. Curie enrolled in the Flying University, an underground school that moved constantly between private homes and hidden lecture halls to avoid police detection, hence the name Flying University. Those secret lessons led to the discovery of radioactivity and scientific breakthroughs like X-rays and cancer treatments, still in use today. Back then, it wasn't easy, even for cyclists. The second Tour de France in 1904 was absolute mayhem. Some riders skipped whole sections by catching the train. Others had friends push them up steep climbs. And then there were the competitors attacked mid-race by angry fans throwing stones and scattering nails to puncture tyres. In the end, the top four finishers were disqualified. Victory went to 19-year-old Henry Cornet, who still stands as the youngest Tour de France champion in what was the most absurd race in history. Reports are those riders drank a buttload of water. And you might be surprised to know that a butt isn't just slang. It's a medieval unit of measurement. A buttload of wine equals about 126 US gallons or 477 litres, around 800 bottles of wine. Shakespeare even wrote that Richard III's brother Clarence, from his play aptly titled Richard III, was drowned in a butt of Malmsey. Yes, a buttload is technically a precise measurement. Wine barrels aside, let's move to that time artists fought over paint. In 2016, artist Anish Kapoor enraged the art world by securing exclusive rights to Vantablack, a substance so dark it absorbs 99.96% of light, making 3D objects look like flat voids. Everyone was furious at not being able to use what was hailed as the darkest substance on Earth. So in retaliation, artist Stuart Semple struck back with the pinkest pink, a bright neon pigment he made available to everyone, except Kapoor. And to this day, buyers have to tick a box before checkout declaring they're not Anish Kapoor. It's known for being one of the most ridiculous feuds in art history, nearly as ridiculous as a pickle in a Christmas tree. In the US, there's a quirky Christmas tradition. Families hide shiny pickle ornaments in their Christmas trees. It's said to be an old German custom. The person who spots it first gets a prize or extra gift. Only issue is, surveys reveal that Germans have never heard of it. Historians trace it back to clever American marketers in the 1890s. They were trying to sell glass ornaments, so they invented the German pickle. In the end, it was all a front. Just like what's lurking behind Target's shelves. While you might head to Target when you're running low on socks, their operations go deeper than just shopping carts and checkout lines. Target actually runs 2 high-tech forensic labs, complete with DNA analysis, fingerprint matching, and everything you'd expect from your favorite CSI doco. They're involved in simple shoplifting cases to high-profile homicide investigations. I bet you never knew that. And here's something else you might not know. Before settling on Jenga, Jenga, that iconic tower game where you stack wooden blocks and pray it doesn't collapse. They were thinking of calling it Timber or Tumbling. The company worried the game would flop because the name doesn't give any clues on how it's supposed to be played. But Leslie Scott, the game's creator, stuck with Jenga. The name's Swahili for to build, a nod to her childhood in East Africa. And now let's traverse the globe, from East Africa to Japan. A country with 5.5 million vending machines. That's one for every 23 people. They're more than just conveniently placed snack dispensers. In earthquakes or water shortages, they activate their free vend mode, where they dispense clean drinking water and emergency supplies to anyone in need. Japan's thought of it all. I wouldn't be surprised if they've even got a hack for surviving boiling rivers. I'm talking about the river that sits deep in the Peruvian Amazon. It looks harmless, but looks can be deceiving. The Shanay Timpishka. I know I've got that wrong, but just work with me. Better known as the Boiling River. Winds for 4 miles with waters so steamy they can reach temperatures of up to 95 degrees Celsius. Anything that falls in is boiled alive. For generations, locals believe the heat came from the breath of a giant serpent. But the truth is a little more scientific. Geothermal energy seeps up from deep within the earth, keeping it piping hot all year round. From Antarctic towns where no appendix is a prerequisite, to the 80-year-old mystery that is KFC's 11 herbs and spices. Those facts were something. But before you head out, why not check out some more? That's all for me. Until next week, I'll catch you then.